Hi, this is Lee from cloudstoragebuzz.com, and we're going to be doing something different this time. We're going to be testing out Backblaze versus CrashPlan back to head here on the same test machine. I've got a new test machine set up called with IE user here with roughly 600 megabyte of data, and we're going to just give both these services the run through on trials. Just to see how long it takes to back things up, how easy it is, and how these might perform on your systems. This is a Windows 8.1 virtual machine, so it's a little different than your standard hardware desktop, but not much. So a few things I wanted to point out here before we get started with our backups. This test machine right now is actually not connected to the internet. And it's just shortly I had to have them connected a little bit when I set up the accounts, so a little bit of data has been transferred, but not much. I set up CrashPlan first, and it recognized that there was 475 megabyte of data, even though that user count actually shows more. CrashPlan, on the other hand, shows that there's 530 megabyte of data. It's mostly images that is set up, but currently these systems are not working. They're not running, and I just wanted to show you the task manager here, how much RAM these systems are using. Backblaze, the control panel here, is roughly using just over 6 megabyte of RAM. CrashPlan, this part alone, is using close to 60 megabyte of RAM. And if we look at the details of these systems, because they have back-end services as well, CrashPlan, the back-end service is this service right here, and it's using just over 2 megabyte of RAM. So in grand total, with the desktop app and the service, you're looking at roughly 8 megabyte of RAM being used by Backblaze. CrashPlan, the CrashPlan back-end service is using right now 65 megabyte of RAM, and the desktop app is using 60 megabyte of RAM. That's 120 megabyte of RAM just for CrashPlan. Now both of these services have started setting up their backups, and I was going to just let these run, and we'll come back after they're done and see how they did. It'll be interesting to see if Backblaze selects some more data once it's done the initial, because it was set up first, and so there may have been information that CrashPlan has found that Backblaze hasn't. Just as a note, here in performance on Backblaze, I've set it to a manual throttle, roughly around 80%, and in settings on CrashPlan, I've set it to 80% as well. So hopefully we'll get an interesting comparison of how long both these services take to back up this data. It's just after 11 o'clock, 11:10 when we're starting. So, and it'll be interesting to see how much RAM both these services use during this during this test. So I'm going to start up the network here again, and let these services just start backing up. There we go. I'll click back up now and start this one up. Come on. Retry. There we go. There we go. So we'll come back in a little while and see how long, see how they do. Well, now that our backups are complete, CrashPlan actually finished considerably faster or sooner than Backblaze, considering it had more files and more data to back up, which is a pleasant surprise actually. But let's take a look at some of the features here in CrashPlan. some of the features that CrashPlan has that are unique to it is the ability for you to back up to a friend, or for your friend to back up to you as well. You can also back up to another computer, so if you have multiple installs of CrashPlan, you can actually do this with their free version. You can back up, create your own sort of little cloud between your own computers. So if you have multiple computers, say maybe one at work or one at a friend's house or something, or you could just back up to another folder, which is always nice. It's always great to have a local backup. You can also find under settings, you can configure more of CrashPlan, including backup statuses and alerts. You can get them to email you once a week or however often you'd like, tell you if your backup has succeeded or not. You can set preferences as to how much CPU usage CrashPlan uses. You can set your backup routine schedule. Of course, it's always better to just set it up. The easiest is to always just let it run if you possibly can. Under security, you can actually set a password so that other people in your house perhaps can't get at the application. You know, you have children, and you can also set a custom 48-bit key if you'd like to make sure that no one can read your data except for you, and that can always be a concern these days. And also under network, you can set how much data you allow when, where it's going to, etc. So how much data is sending rate on your WAN or on your LAN, of course, if you have a local network that you're backing up to as well. But overall, there's a lot of features in CrashPlan that if you like to sit and tweak, CrashPlan is great for that. But the general settings that CrashPlan installs with are very good, and will have you backing up to their cloud component called CrashPlan Central very quickly and easily. Under destinations, you can set these are the other destinations you could set that you could see here as well, friends on another computer. Very, very easy system. The big concern with CrashPlan is its memory usage. Other than that, if you're looking for a very easy to use system, CrashPlan is very good, especially for families. If you have multiple computers to back up, CrashPlan is definitely worth looking at. Welcome back to our CrashPlan versus Backblaze head-to-head here. I didn't get a chance to take a look at some of the Backblaze settings the other day, so I thought I'd do that before we continue on to look at how to restore files here today. The settings in Backblaze, there's not a lot of settings that you need to configure. Unlike CrashPlan that has a lot of options, Backblaze does one thing and it does it really well. It backs up all your files very easily without a lot of tweaking or setting up. On the settings page here, we can see that we have options to select our hard drives for backup. If you have an external drive, you'd see that here. You'd have to make sure that it's selected. Sometimes, I've seen it occasionally, that the external drive is not selected. Usually it's just a matter of checking it and making sure that it's done. The performance tab, if you're having problems getting your computer to back up faster, this is where you can turn the automatic throttle off and manually throttle it up so that it goes a little faster. The schedule, probably best always to leave it in continuous, although you can set it to only when you back up or once per day. The exclusions, most people probably don't have to worry about this. If you are running virtual machines, you may have to actually, and you want to back those virtual machines up, Backblaze automatically actually removes virtual machines from their backup, but that's usually not a problem for most users. Security tab is where you'd want to set your private encryption key, and you need to make sure that you remember or write down your private encryption key, because if you lose it, you won't be able to get your files back from Backblaze. So and the rest is pretty much what is going on in the app itself. Like I said, Backblaze doesn't have a lot of settings that you need to worry about. It pretty much takes care of it all itself. which is the beauty of it, which makes it so easy to use initially. So now that our backups are completed, we're going to take a look at how to restore files. We'll look at CrashPlan first. So here are this is the data that we've uploaded to these services. So I started with death to stock. I love death to stock photos. And what I'll do here is I will delete these two folders. Delete. And we'll go to CrashPlan and restore these. So let's go to the Restore tab. Here's our pictures folder, and you can see that the death to stock are here. We can select these two folders, and it shows 20 files, 2 directories, and here we get to choose. We want to restore the most recent version to the original location and rename any existing files. And these are the options that you have. You can rename or overwrite, or you can save, restore to a folder, desktop, or to the original location. In our case, restore the most recent version to the original location and rename existing files is probably the best option. So if we selected these files in the app, we just click Restore and wait, and I'll let this finish recording while it does this restore, and we'll come back. Well, and roughly 15 minutes later, all our files are now restored, and you can see the status here, and we can see that the files are all back where they belong. And that's how easy it is to restore with CrashPlan. So now that we've restored the files from CrashPlan, we're going to do the same thing here, and we'll go through the restore process with Backblaze. So here let's just take a look at this. So there's 252 megabyte in here, 20 files, 2 folders, and we'll just delete these. And let's go to Backblaze, and we'll go Restore Options. And here are some of our restore options. We have a web download, which is free. We can order a USB drive, a flash drive, or a USB drive. Now, since it's such a small amount, we'll sign in to do a restore on the website. There we go. Took a while. Now, since Backblaze doesn't restore to a location, we actually will have to download a zip file. Okay, here's our folders that we want to restore. And we selected them, and we click continue with restore. And now we wait just a little bit for the email to come, and I'll just pause this and we'll continue once the file is ready to download. Okay, got the email already, and here's our file that is ready to be downloaded, 252 megabyte. We click download, and it's saving it here so we can show all our downloads. And we'll just keep that one on. Alright, our Backblaze download is restore is complete, so let's open our downloads folder. Now because it's a zip file, we have to actually do a few more steps than we would if we were restoring from the app inside of CrashPlan. But for a small restore like this, it's not too bad. Large restores, you do need to download the Backblaze downloader, because the files are just simply too large for your system to unzip. But here's our files. We'll just cut them from there and put them back where they belong, which is where they go, in our pictures folder. Paste. And we can take a look. 20 files, 2 folders, 252 megabyte.